Oh boy, guys, I've been waiting to do one of these for a while. Hello everyone and welcome back. My name's SPEARHEAD and we are back with another Halo custom archive video for you today. Today we'll be covering the custom creation called Troy, which originated in Halo 2. This custom creation was inspired off of the ancient Greek epic poem from Homer known as the Iliad, the historical battle known as the Trojan War, but it was more based on the movie that came out in 2004 where the Trojans fought to protect their city from the Greeks and, you know, taking Helen with the horse trap and all that stuff. But anyways, this is you know, again, it's not going to go into too much history detail. The more aspect of this custom creation was to give that ancient warfare feeling where you fired barrages of arrows but instead they're brute shots, and then when you got close quarters up to each other charging, if you managed to survive, you try to beat each other down with a brute shot melees and or the brute shots blade and try to kill them. And so it tried to, you know, simulate that ancient warfare feeling. And so you just pretended that the flag was Helen and you were trying to protect it. Another interesting fact about this custom creation was that originally the name was not actually called Troy. I know a lot of people know it was called Troy because that was the popular thing to remember it by, but it actually was called Braveheart. It was actually based off of that movie, but people kept changing it over times to the more current film of Troy, which felt more representative of the situation that was going on. So it went from Braveheart, and then people slowly changed it to Achilles, and then slowly it changed over to Trojan War, and then it was just called Troy, which was more simple and easier to remember because of the movie that came out in 2004 at the same time that Halo 2 came out. So it played a big influence on the name of the custom creation. The custom creation used capture the flag game types. There was no weapons, no power-ups, no vehicles, no grenades on the maps, no grenades on your spawn either. Everyone just had brute shots. That was it. That was basically it. And I believe also no shields at all either. Players do not have any shields. The motion sensor was used in some matches. People like to have it, but a lot of people prefer to have it off because, you know, give it more of that feeling of less assistance, and it was more primitive in nature. So there's no time limit on this. It's just one life with multiple rounds and 2 teams. Two teams, red team and blue team. There's no flag touch return, so meaning once your flag leaves, you gotta protect it with everything you can because it's not gonna get returned or reset. It was preferred to have a full 8v8 for just that awesomeness of having a really big party. The biggest party you can have, an 8v8 was the best way to do it. The map that they used it on was Coagulation. It did have one honor roll that was pretty hard to get people to follow, but that was basically that when you spawned, that you were required to fire off all your brute shots right away as you're charging at the enemy, and, you know, fire them up high in the air right off the bat and just charge in. Basically, unfortunately though, sometimes, just like how I did the video on Rain of Fire, I think that was called Rain of Fire, that custom creation I did, the same issue where people didn't always, you know, obey the honor rules, and that was the situation with this one as well, is that you were supposed to fire it off right at the start. But yeah, if everyone did follow the rules, it was pretty cool. What you do is, the best thing you do is right off the bat, where the spawns were on both sides of the map were perfect for this, because if you angle it just right at about a 45-degree angle up, or up to 60-degree, and you just fire it away, it would end up landing within their area where they were going to be, either from where the spawn was or from where they would be at if they had charged forward. So they'd be somewhere within that distance. So it was good to fire off right off the bat and you get some kills right away. Now, once you fired off all your shots, you had to keep an eye out for incoming enemy brute shots, which was pretty hectic to see. You had to start strafing because you'd start seeing them come back down. You're like, oh no, because as yours were going up, arching over and coming down at the enemy, theirs were coming all over and arching towards you. So now you gotta go, oh dear. And so then all of a sudden it would just be absolute hell, just tons of these things just wrecking havoc all over the map, and you just had to keep charging forward and basically just not get killed. Once you get close enough to the enemy and engage them into a melee combat, and just hope that you get the first hit or else you're done. If you manage to, you know, get past the enemy, you can go into the enemy's base and steal their flag, and you can even use that as a melee weapon if necessary. Once you get it to bring it back to your base, you need to watch out for any stragglers that are still waiting to take you out, and also anyone taking your flag, because sometimes it can come down to whoever gets the flag back to their base. Even if like there's one on their team and one on your team, they both survive, and you both get each other's weapons and you try to run back. Basically, if they get back to their base before you get back to yours, then they win. So it kind of came down to a lot of those aspects. So best thing to do was to try and kill all the enemies first before trying to go for the flag. But if you were losing, that was probably sometimes the better way to go. If you were down 2 to 4 or something like that, best thing to do was just try and grab the flag and take it back, because at least you could make it back in time and grab it and get the victory. Also, there's different kinds of strategies. If you were kind of the leader of the group, you'd come up with different strategies. Mine was 2 teams. You'd have one team of 4 and another team of 4, and one team of 4 would distract them by going into melee engagements, while the other other group that you had would sneak around and try and go for the flag. This way, even if you guys lose, you have if you lose in a little battle, sometimes though we'd pick the best melee players to do that, be the ones that distract them. So even if we lose the engagement, we can already have an advantage on grabbing their flag, which makes them panic more. So a little bit of a small sacrifice to gain a victory, because they'll throw them off. This custom creation is a tricky one, unfortunately, because sadly, even though it was really popular in Halo 2, it actually drastically died out after Halo 2 into Halo 3. But it did inspire a successor to take its place and evolve over time. So technically, there was an evolution of this custom creation. You could play it in Halo CE, as there were no brute shots or any arching weapons that were similar that could be used, unfortunately, for custom games. I tried looking around in the Halo 2 Custom Edition and Halo 2 Vista, so unfortunately there just wasn't any backwards recreations done for this custom creation. I thought maybe the fuel rod you could kind of use it, but unfortunately it turns out that there's not much of an arch to it, and it just would disappear almost immediately, so it wouldn't really work very well. But I mean, it could be done, I guess, in an adaptation if someone wanted to do that for Halo CE. But other than that, Halo CE did not have a backwards compatibility version of Troy that anyone made at all. But it would have been cool if there was. I saw some really interesting ones. I saw one that I'm still looking for to this day, where it's actually on Hang 'em High, and everyone just uses fuel rods, and there's 2 Banshees on the map. It was a really cool one, and I still have yet to find that custom creation. It was a really, really cool one, but I have yet to find it to this day. But it was kind of like a little bit like Troy in a way, just without a capture flag. It was just Slayer, free-for-all with everyone with fuel rods. But going on forward into Halo 3, the changes to the brute shots were made that now that it didn't require to actually hit the ground before it explode, so you couldn't fire it for an indefinite high amount in the sky and have it come back down. It would actually have a timer on it before it explodes, and the arch on it was not that great anymore, so you had to fire it almost at a directly straight angle when shooting it. So unfortunately, it kind of minimized the fun that you could have with it because of the changes they did to the brute shot. To adjust it to make a more weapon balanced thing for the sandbox in Halo 3, but it was unfortunate because it basically killed off Troy almost immediately. Some people did say that they played it on Valhalla and Sandbox with brute shots and gravity hammers and whatnot, which was pretty cool. That they still tried to get it to survive, even though Halo 3 it kind of just went missing for a bit. But interestingly enough about this custom creation was I was one of those few people that tried to keep Troy still alive, and I found a way to try and keep it around for a bit that I thought was pretty cool. So what I did was I created a forge map on Sandbox, and I incorporated another movie into it called the movie that came out at the time was called 300, and basically I inspired the two off of each other, so I made a custom creation called Sparta versus Troy. And this was a cool custom creation creation where it was 2 forts in the sky with a long bridge connected between them. The objective of this was similar to Troy, where you had to capture the enemy flag, but the interesting part was that you weren't going inside the flag to get their flag and bring it back, but interestingly enough, you picked up the flag and right off the bat on your side of the base, and you carried it over, and you had to fight everyone to the bottom and take it. It was pretty cool. That was the way that I played it. There was people that switched it around a bit and still did the old method. We had to go all the way down, get the flag, and bring it all the way back up and make it work that way. So everyone did their own kind of way on this custom creation back in the day. But I thought it was kind of cool with the whole idea of that you started out with the flag at your base and had to take it to the enemy's home base and score it. But also what was cool was you would have to cross this really narrow bridge, and the only way you could cross it, you would have to go against the enemies that are also crossing it from the other side. And you know, the entire time the enemies fighting each other, and you know, the spawns are right. It just somehow, what was interesting about the spawns was somehow, I don't know how I did it, but I always made it so that the spawns were just perfectly right, so that you'd be fighting the enemy the entire way. So even if you take the first floor, when you got to the second floor, you would have to be fighting them, and then when you got to the third floor, you would have to be fighting them as well, all the way down. So it'd always be a fight all the way, and it somehow worked with the spawns. I thought that was pretty cool how that got that to work. So the entire time you're fighting people all the way down, there's always going to be resistance of people spawning in closer to the objective trying to fight you. So it was always a fight to get that flag, and the flag, I didn't ever have it reset, so that way it was always a fight the entire process, and the flag would always be close to the objective, so people had to always be worried about the flag being right there next to the base. And so I decided, you know, throw out the brute shot entirely, just keep swords in instead. That's what they used, and that you could just keep respawning. And so it had this battle of the Spartans versus the Trojans, just going at it and fighting. It was pretty cool. I actually really enjoyed playing that a lot. Whenever I was like host, I would enjoy a chance to play that once in a while. And so what's funny about this, if you're looking at this and you're like, wait a second, this sounds familiar, that's because this basically became the precursor to the custom creation called Castle Wars. That's right. Basically, this was like the missing link between what Troy was, and then it became Castle Wars. This was it. And basically, Troy itself basically kind of died out and slowly became Castle Wars. And so it's pretty cool to watch how that, you know, transitioned over. And this was basically its meeting point. You know, it wasn't, you know, a really fancy designed map, but this was actually where it started. And then what ended up happening was this as it slowly converted over, Troy just slowly died out. I will cover Castle Wars in another video because it's, you know, worth doing, but Troy itself still, you know, gets its own video for this one, and basically we're going to still talk about where it still kind of survived. But for the most part, Troy did end up going missing. It's probably last time we ever really get to see it was in Halo Reach. That was the last remnants of Troy that ever existed. It was called Troy V2, and when it was just, you know, basically just a basic team slayer with both teams on floating platforms and shooting concussion rifles at each other at a distance, at each other and whatnot. There was no capture the flag. Instead, you just fired concussion rifle shots at your enemies and had to try and just arc the shots and hit your enemies. You had 1 life on your team, and last man standing wins. And to make it really challenging, they made bottomless clip and infinite ammo, so you could just spam the hell out of that. But again, that's the last we ever see of Troy. It completely, at that point, had completely converted over to Castle Wars, pretty much, that replaced Troy. Troy didn't show up at all in Halo 4 or Halo 5 when from any videos or any gameplay or any searches that I could find. I tried to do as much as I could on searching that up. Unfortunately, I couldn't. And also the Halo MCC, when that came about, I couldn't find any ways to play that. No custom creations were made so far that I could find. Even in Halo 2 Anniversary, you could still find an actual Halo 2 Classic Action Sack playlist set up 4v4 that was called Troy, with Team Slayer with no shields, no grenades, and just brute shots, and went, you know, until one team got to 50 kills in the matchmaking on any map. which was, you know, pretty cool. It's not the exact thing of how Troy was played, but obviously they can't enforce honor rules into a matchmaking multiplayer thing. But other than that, Troy was never, you know, seen again, unfortunately, and was completely replaced by a successor, Castle Wars. So, you know, it was pretty cool. Just unfortunately, it was, you know, Halo Reach was last time. Halo 4, we didn't see it. Halo MCC, there was just a custom, was it a Action Sack playlist? One of the games you could play was that. And then in Halo 5, just went missing. And I don't, you know, really think that Halo Infinite might even see a return of it, because again, it had set rules. The only way I could ever even see this custom creation ever coming about was that that they, you know, somehow forced the teammates to fire all their shots off the bat so that they would fire it off and then run in melee, or they can spawn in explosions that will just rain down, and that's how they get it to work. I'm not sure how exactly. There's probably some good forgers out there that could do it, but obviously that was the limitations of Troy. It was held back by honor rules, and so that's why they couldn't actually get it to really work very well, and that's why it ended up getting replaced by Castle Wars, where you could keep respawning and you could you know, do it that way. But you do see that they're actually similar. Troy and Castle Wars are very much alike, except that when it came to Troy, its original design was a one life, last man standing on a team, and you had to capture the flag, versus Castle Wars, it doesn't end until all the flags are captured, and there is no limits on number of lives that you have. Unfortunately for this custom creation, the identity of the creator is currently unknown, but this creator did end up influencing the Castle Wars creation, which became a very popular custom game to play over time. So in a way, Troy is the precursor to Castle Wars. Again, that was the only difference, was the way that there was limitations like one life versus no limit of lives and whatnot. But again, it was very popular. This custom creation was very, very popular amongst people in Halo 2. This was probably maybe out of like the top 5 or top 10 most popular custom creations to play back in the day. So with that being said, I decided I'm going to rank this custom creation in Onyx, as it was a very popular Halo 2 custom creation to play. One of the biggest custom creations to play back in Halo 2. Unfortunately, it quickly died off in Halo 3 and had to evolve. Halo Reach had a slight bring back of this custom creation, but it was altered as well. In Halo MCC, it had a matchmaking inspiration of this, but the fact that it inspired Castle Wars, you know, showed that it still keeps living on even into other Halo games. This custom creation became so popular that the old Halo 2 fans still remember this custom creation to this day and how much enjoyment it brought. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoy watching my videos, then make sure to turn on notifications to get updates on this channel for new Halo Custom Archive videos. Check in the video description for more information. Also, if you have any suggestions for other custom creations that I should cover, like custom games, mods, maps, and so on, then make sure to message me and even join my Halo Custom Archive Discord. I would love to hear them. Again, my name is XFerginatorX, and you all have a great day. See you later.
Mohammedans, my brothers of the sword. I'd rather fight beside you than any army of thousands. Let no man forget how menacing we are. We are lions! Do you know what's there? Waiting, beyond that beach. Immortality! Take it! It's yours!